friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Playlist. It's Friday, so you guys know what that means. It's time for me to share with you guys the games I have been playing during the week. I'll let you guys know my thoughts and opinions on these titles, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the games. I also want to hear what games you guys are playing because I always get good ideas from hearing about the games you guys play each week. And you guys have piqued my interest in several titles in the past month or so. So I do appreciate hearing about the games you guys play, and if you have any recommendations on games you think I should play, let me know, because I also really appreciate all the recommendations you guys have been giving me, because you guys have also been recommending a lot of wonderful titles, and I have a nice growing list on my site of games to keep an eye out for to add to the collection, or if I already have them to play eventually. So keep those recommendations coming, I really appreciate it. And I've got 3 games for you guys for 3 different consoles. And this first one here, I finally beat this now after I started getting back to playing it, and originally stopped playing this in 2008, and I finally beat it here in 2021, and that is Far Cry 2. So I finally beat this game. It took me like 45 hours to 100% this game. So this is a first-person shooter, and it's one of the first open-world FPS games in 2008, especially for the Far Cry series, because there was not a whole lot of open world games that were similar to this. Now, if you compare this to the newer Far Cry games, though, you're definitely not going to get as much content. There's not as much stuff to do in it as far as like side things, because this is such an early entry in the series. But it was a big departure from the first Far Cry one, which was just pretty linear, just go from here to there. Where this one you can kind of do whatever you want to at any time, which is really cool, really revolutionary at the time. It has pretty good graphics. Now this is backwards compatible with the Xbox One X and Xbox Series X. I've been playing this on my Xbox One X, and I absolutely love the game. The graphics are upgraded on it, they're upscaled, it's a lot brighter, because if you played this game on the 360, it was kind of washed out, a lot of browns and beiges, and that's what a lot of people complained about when this game was first released, is it was kind of like a dark game and kind of like just felt washed out. Now if you play it on the Xbox One X, though, it really brightens up the image, brings the color out and everything, it just looks amazing, and it runs amazing. The loading times are real quick, and just the overall graphical appearance is really great, and so I love that I could play it on my Xbox One X, and I'm so happy that I finally beat the story. So I did all the 32 main missions. I was able to do all 40 of the side missions. I did the 12 buddy missions. I also did the underground missions, and I even found all the collectibles, because this game's currency system is actually raw diamonds, and you can actually find 1 to 3 of those in briefcases, and there's 221 of them scattered out throughout the game. You have 2 main maps that you go through. You have the northern part that's broken into 9 sectors at the first part of the game, and then the second half takes place at the bottom half, and then there is a part you go to called the Heart of Darkness. It's at the end game, and once you go there, you can't go back to do anything else. So you want to make sure before you go there you complete everything else. But I had a lot of fun with this game, and I'm so glad that I finally went back and beat it, because this is one of those games that's just been sitting in the back of my mind for a long time, that, man, I never did beat Far Cry 2. I want to play the other Far Cry games, but I want to go back and beat 2 first before I start any of the other ones. Not that any of them are related, you know, the stories aren't related, you're not going to miss out on anything, but it's just, I wanted to go back and finally complete this game, and I'm so glad that I did. This, give you guys a basic story again, but, so basically you go to a fictional, unnamed country in Africa that's in the middle of a war, and there's 2 sides, the UFLL and APR, who are both fighting each other, and then the civilians are kind of caught in between, and you're a mercenary who is sent here to kill this guy called the Jackal, who is an arms dealer who armed both sides, and so then the story goes from there. And you can play as one of 12 characters in the game. They're the buddies that you can pick to play as, different nationalities, names, and personalities, and backstories, and whatever ones you pick is you play as, but then those 11 other buddies are actually in the game that you can actually recruit to do stuff with you. Like, they can give you missions and stuff, and then they can also help you when you one thing I really liked about the buddies is they can actually rescue you if they're set to buddy rescue and you were to die getting shot, they would actually pick you up and take you away a little way from the battlefield, patch you up, hand you a gun, and help you kill your enemies. If you were to die again, obviously you'd be dead. But that was something that was really interesting in this. And then you also had someone who was your best, called your best buddy, who would give you missions and stuff. And alternatives, when you would do the main story, I like this. Some of the buddies could give you alternative ways to do the missions and unlock extra stuff, extra bonus things for your safe houses, because the game does have safe houses all throughout the maps, and that's where you can save your game and you can restock ammo, get new health kits and stuff. And it's just overall a really fun game that I really enjoyed. Now I know a lot of people kind of hated the ending, but after watching the ending, I thought it was a perfect conclusion to this game, because there's just nobody in this game is the good guy, really. Both sides are evil, and you gotta think even your own character has his own selfish motives. Like he's getting paid diamonds here to kill people, so it's not like like these are good people or anything. So I like that there's different shades of morality in the game, and there's not just black and white, good and evil. There's really kind of different subtle levels. And I guess it's kind of up to you to decide who's really good, who's evil, or pretty much everybody is an asshole in the game. There are a few characters I would say that are truly good people, but you don't get to play as them. So I thought it had a interesting idea for a story, and I love that it wasn't the typical, oh, you're the hero and you're coming here to save everybody and be the big hero at the end type of thing. I enjoyed that it was different, and I did like the ending. I had a blast with it, so I'm so glad that I beat Far Cry 2 now, because I do want to go through and beat the other Far Cry games. Far Cry 3, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5. I have Far Cry Primal, and then eventually we're going to get Far Cry 6. So I have hundreds of hours of Far Cry games to get through, but I had a blast with number 2. If you guys have never played it, highly recommend you guys pick up a copy. It's very cheap. You can get it digitally. Like I said, it's backwards compatible on the Xbox One X, and it really upscales the game, and it's really fun. And like I said, it's also a very cheap game. This goes for like $5 here locally, so you can easily pick up a copy online. Even I think it's like maybe $10 or something. But definitely check out Far Cry 2 if you're a fan of the series and never played it. It's really good. It's just not as in depth as the other Far Cry games, but you can get about 40 hours like I did out of the game if you were to do everything and 100% the game. I do recommend getting the strategy guide or looking on a guide online, because there are missable missions and stuff if you progress the story too far. So you want to make sure that you don't do that if you want 100% it. Alright, let me know your guys' thoughts on Far Cry 2 if you played it. So we got that. Next up, I have another one here for Game Boy Advance that I'm getting really far into. I'm very close to finally beating this one, and I would like to get this beat soon because I want to start the next one in the series. And that was Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Advance. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Donkey Kong series. I have a good buddy, Grant, who now obviously lately hasn't, but he was coming over on Mondays, and for like 2 years, him and I were playing a lot of the Donkey Kong games. We beat Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 on Super Famicom. We also we're working on, and the one we spent the most time on is playing Donkey Kong 64, and we almost got 102% on that one. We're very close to that. We're at the end now, so I just have to have him come over a couple more times, and we should be able to fully beat that game. But I decided, that I love the Donkey Kong Country games. I beat it a couple times on the Super Nintendo, beat the Famicom, and I'm like, it'd be kind of cool to check out the Game Boy Advance version because I have it in my collection and I've never played it before. And so I've been playing this year, and I've really been enjoying it. Now, the graphics aren't as great as the Super Nintendo one. I mean, you'll notice that right off the bat. The music's not the same because of obviously a different system being on the Game Boy Advance. And you got to remember that this game was made for the little tiny Game Boy Advance screen. So they're not as good, but they're still decent and playable. Now, I like playing this on my Game Boy Advance player that I have on my GameCube in the bedroom. And I think the game looks great on there, and I love using the GameCube controller. It's very responsive, controls are done well, and I thoroughly enjoy this game. They have added stuff to this over the Super Nintendo version, so it's not just simply a port, which I always like. They do that with a lot of the Game Boy Advance games from Super Nintendo. They always added little extra things to it, like you can save anytime you want in this game, which comes in very handy. You just hit the start button, the save menu comes up, and you can hit save on the thing and save anytime you want. You don't have to get to Candy Kong, because sometimes in the start of a world she'd be at the beginning, but sometimes she'd be at the end. And if you're in a really difficult world and you don't make it to her and die, then you got to start that whole freaking world over again, and it just sucks. So I like being able to save whenever you want. Another thing is they added some new mini games. Like Funky Kong doesn't have just funky flights where he moves you around the worlds. He also has a fishing mini game where you can unlock stuff in the game, which is cool. And then Candy Kong, since you no longer save, she actually has a little DDR mini game. So it's pretty cool. They add some extra content. I really like the bosses in this game because they have been redesigned to become a little bit more difficult. Like the example, the B boss, she normally just goes up and down. Well, as you get further in the boss fight, she starts adding extra little bees into her attack pattern to make her a little bit more difficult. So I did like that they made the game a little bit more challenging for veterans of the original versions of the game. So definitely worth checking out. If you guys have played Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo, or you played the Super Famicom version, definitely check out the Game Boy Advance version. It warrants a purchase because there's enough subtle changes to the game, tweaks and stuff, added some new collectibles to find, like these little cameras, and you can actually unlock pictures and stuff. So getting 100%, 101 or 2% or whatever this version, this game has to completely do everything is a little bit more difficult because they added some stuff to it. But it's worth playing through, especially if you're a big fan of the Donkey Kong Country series like I am, and I'm getting very close to the end. It's just I forgot how freaking difficult the end game is, especially those later levels. I'm very close to the to getting to King K. Rool, and it's just been a little pain in some of those levels right now, and I just had to stop playing a little while ago. It was upsetting me. Just kept dying in the same spot, and I just had to take a break from it. But I'm looking forward to beating this very soon, so I can start Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Highly recommend this one, especially if you're a fan of the Super Nintendo version. Try the Game Boy Advance one. It's a really good game, and it's a fairly cheap title as well. So definitely check that out. And our final game, I'm so glad that I picked this up. I know my buddy Dean's a huge fan of this character and this series. This is I got on Xbox One just a few weeks ago, and that is Duke Nukem 3D, or World Tour 3D, 20th anniversary one. So the Duke Nukem 3D 20th anniversary World Tour. There we go. I have not played Duke Nukem 3D in a long time. It's been forever. I originally played Duke Nukem games on PC, but I have played the different console ports. And man, did this bring back memories. It's just, especially playing that original level and hearing Duke's voice. It's just awesome. I've always loved Duke Nukem. I know there's always been some controversy with the character. People are like, oh, he's misogynistic and he's a pig and everything. It's like, yeah, he is, but he's still a fucking badass. And it's just awesome. And I like that on the back it says, it's frag like it's 1996. So join the world's greatest action hero in Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour as he saves Earth once again, kicking alien tail and saving babes across the globe along the way. And you still have all the classic stuff. You could have actually two different looks to this game too. If you hit the if you hit the down on the D-pad, you can actually change to like true 3D versus the original game's 3D models. And I'm glad that they didn't do 100% like next gen upgrade to it, because it just would take away from the charm of the game. I just love that it has the old school graphics in this game when you play, and the characters are like 2D, are kind of like flat 2D, but they turn to 3D when you rotate around the different characters or objects in the world. So like I really enjoyed that, and having that attention to detail. It also says all new episode 5, 8 new levels from original episode designers Alan Blum III and Richard Level Lord Gray. New episode 5 content. Duke Nukem finally gets an incinerator to roast new Firefly enemies, so you got a new incinerator weapon, which I'm looking forward to getting to that. There's also developer commentary, insights from the team behind the genre-defining shooter Duke Nukem 3D. And there's also a new musical score for episode 5. And then there's also new Duke talk, plus high-fidelity re-recording from the Duke Nukem's original voice actor, John. So I did like that there was an option in the menu where you could have new Duke Nukem lines, or you could have classic ones. And just going through, I hadn't played the game in so long. I forgot some of them. Like, you could turn on the Like you could go to the toilet, and he goes to the bathroom, and he's like, feel like a new man. And then like if you go to the mirror, he's damn, I look good. And just all the classic Duke Nukem one-liners are like in this game, and I just completely forgot about it because I hadn't played the game in so long. And of course, they have like a at the end of the you get ranked and scored, and they have a par time. Like the first level, I think the par time was like 2 or 3 minutes, and I took like 35 minutes to beat it because I was just exploring. There's a lot of secrets in the game too, and it tells you how many different secrets there are. So there's just cool things, little Easter eggs to find in the game, different weapons and stuff. There's a whole bunch of different difficulty levels, and the higher difficulty you play on, the harder the game is. I'm just playing on the normal difficulty setting, and it's fun. They do have the controlling is done really well. I did have to adjust the aim sensitivity for myself though, because it felt too blocky and stiff at first. But it's because my aim thing was set too low, so I set it up higher so I could move it around. Because obviously, if you played this on PC, you had a mouse and keyboard, it made it a lot easier. So I just turned up the sensitivity of the controller aiming, and it made it a lot easier. But it's just fun going through. I'm just on the very first levels. I love that it has the babes in the game, the strippers. You can still hand them money, and they'll take off their top and show you their tits. Like just all the classic Duke Nukem stuff that I completely forgot about because I hadn't played it in years is in this game. And I sat there and played this for several hours, just having a blast from the past with it. And I highly recommend you get this for either the PS4 or the Xbox One, as this is a wonderful game. And if you've never experienced the Duke Nukem 3D on any of the computer or the old consoles or anything, definitely pick up this Xbox One or PS4 version. If you're a fan of Duke Nukem, you will not be disappointed, and you can finally see what you've been missing out that you didn't play back in 1996. Definitely check out Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. Wonderful game. It's priced locally in my area about 15 to 20 some dollars, and I did not even know that this was on the Xbox One X until I saw it at the game store, and I'm so glad that I added it to the collection. And I'm looking forward to 100% beating all the content in this game and that new episode 5. And another cool thing about this is you can go through the different levels, but you can play them in different orders because they're all unlocked at the beginning. You can pick like a main like story thing, like you can go start out with LA, or there's different Hollywood Massacre, like all the classic levels are there, but you can play them in different order if you want to, and it's just really fun game that I'm having a blast with. And I love the Duke Nukem character. It's sad I don't think we'll ever get another Duke Nukem game, especially today, but this is one that if you're a fan of Duke Nukem, you definitely should add to your collection. And I'm actually thinking of getting the Duke Nukem 3D strategy guide for this so I can get all the secrets, because I know I missed a lot of stuff because I haven't played it in years, so I don't remember everything. I remembered a couple things, but I didn't know everything. I did look at a couple videos online of walkthroughs of things to go and secrets and stuff, and to remember what to do. Like at the very beginning of the game, for like the first like 6 minutes, I'm like, where the hell do I go? I don't remember what to do, and I forgot like, oh yeah, there's a button to interact with stuff, like to open doors, and I hit the X button and open, and I'm like, God, I feel like an idiot. Like they're like, where the fuck do I go? And I'm running around, and I'm like, oh yeah, he did have a button to interact with stuff, and then obviously I was able to continue playing the game. But it's just a fun game. You guys definitely should check out Duke Nukem 3D. This 20th Anniversary World Tour was an awesome blast from the past. It got classic Duke Nukem lines. So we'll go over the games I play with you guys. A quick little recap. I talked about Far Cry 2. I finally beat this game, so I'm glad I have it done. It took me 44 hours. It's a first-person shooter. There's a lot of the main quests. There's side stuff to do. There's diamond collectibles to get. You can upgrade weapons. You can upgrade yourself to have more health kits and stuff. And definitely recommend that you max out your upgrades, because the further along you get in this story, the more difficult the characters you fight are. The enemies get more health and they get more deadlier, and their weapons hit a lot harder, and you can die real quickly, especially in the end game stuff. Like, so glad that I fully upgraded, but it was still a bit of a challenge at the end. But totally worth a playthrough. If you've never played Far Cry 2, pick it up. You will not be disappointed. I also talked about Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Advance. This is a wonderful port of the Super Nintendo version that has new changes to it. They've added some new collectibles. They added some tweaks to the boss battles. They added 2 new mini games. They've also added the feature that you can save anytime you want. Has all the classic music and everything. Controls really well. Looks wonderful if you play it on your Game Boy Advance player like I do on your GameCube. Wonderful game I think you guys should go through, especially if you're a fan of the original, because this is a great companion piece to that Super Nintendo version, and it warrants playing through again. It's just that good of a game, so check it out. And then, of course, we talked about Duke Nukem 3D, the 20th Anniversary World Tour. Classic Duke Nukem game, all the classic Duke Nukem lines. You get to see women open their top up for you when you give them money, and just listen to his classic lines. It's just an awesome game that you guys definitely should pick up and enjoy, especially if you love this originally from back in the 90s. Pick it up and play it again. It'll bring back all kinds of nostalgia for you like it did me, and I'm so glad I got this, and I'm looking forward to beating it. So if you guys have played any of these 3 games, let me know your thoughts, your opinions on them, what you liked about them, maybe something you didn't like about them. I want to hear what games you guys have been playing, because it gives me ideas on new games to check out. And if you guys have any recommendations on a game you think I might enjoy, please let me know. You guys always recommend really fun games, and I'm always looking for new games to play and experience. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. Have a wonderful day and sleep. We'll see you guys next time.